Hi, I'm Bakhtar Sanova and you are watching A News Weekend. Here are the top stories. Hamas has handed over 6 hostages as Israel set to free more than 600 Palestinian prisoners. The humanitarian crisis in Congo continues to worsen, spilling over to neighboring Burundi. Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan finalized border agreement after several decades. Hamas has released all 6 Israeli hostages in the 7th hostage prisoner exchange with Israel. This is the final group of living hostages to be handed over in the first phase of the ceasefire.
Hamas has set free 6 hostages due to be released in Gaza. This is the 7th and final group of living hostages to be handed over to Israel under the first phase of the Gaza ceasefire deal. The freed hostages include Elia Cohen, Omer Shemtov, Omer Wenkert, Tal Shoham, Avera Mengistu, and Hisham al-Sayed, who was released hours later. In return, Israel is expected to release 602 Palestinian prisoners. Among them are 50 individuals serving life sentences, 60 with lengthy prison terms, and 445 detainees from Gaza. Additionally, 47 prisoners who were rearrested after being released in the 2011 Shalit deal are also being freed. Meanwhile, in Tel Aviv, hundreds of people have gathered across the city to celebrate the return of the Israeli hostages. Families and supporters are welcoming the latest releases and calling for the return of all remaining captives.
So I came to the hostage plaza here in Tel Aviv. I came a week ago from New Jersey. I just came to be here to see the videos of the hostages are being released. It's giving me a lot of hope that our son Idan will be next.
Around 60 more captives, less than half of whom are believed to be alive, remain in Gaza. The ceasefire agreement, mediated by international parties, remains in effect as discussions continue over future exchanges and the broader situation in the region.
Escalating violence in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo is intensifying pressure on neighboring Burundi, exacerbating an already fragile regional security situation. As clashes between armed groups and government forces continue to displace thousands of civilians, Burundi is struggling to manage the growing influx of refugees crossing its border in search of safety.
The United Nations reports that over 40,000 people have fled to Burundi in the past 2 weeks to escape fighting, as the M23 rebel group seizes control of the 2 largest cities in eastern Congo, raising concerns of a broader conflict. According to Brigitte Mukanga-Eno, the UNHCR representative in Burundi, more than 9,000 individuals crossed into the country in a single day last week.
This kind of large influx is really the first time in many years for Burundi. The last one was in the early 2000s. So everyone is overwhelmed, the government, but also the humanitarian actors in the country. We are trying our best, but the people who are arriving are coming quite in very, very bad shape, particularly for those coming through the Rusizi River.
She also shared the story of a woman whose 2 children succumbed to exhaustion shortly after crossing the border into Burundi. According to the UN, some refugees have been displaced multiple times, arriving with injuries or health issues. The UNHCR plans to relocate them from temporary shelters, including an open-air stadium, schools and churches, to a designated area where they can receive humanitarian aid. Additionally, the agency has launched an emergency appeal for funding to support a possible surge in refugee arrivals.
Staying with the Democratic Republic of Congo, in the eastern city of Bukavu, residents have expressed frustration over financial pressure caused by the closure of banks amid the seizure of the city.
Long queues have formed outside local banks in the Democratic Republic of Congo's eastern city of Bukavu, as desperate residents wait for hours to withdraw cash, a scarce commodity since the M23 rebel group seized control of the city. Looting in the city as a result of the rebel group's presence has severely disrupted banking services, further increasing economic hardship, hunger, and financial pressure. Now these residents have been left stranded with their money in banks that aren't operating.
I came to see how I could get a little money for some family expenses. But when I arrived, I found that the ATM behind me has nothing. The machine isn't turned on, there's no money in it. We don't know what else to do, no money at all. We can't even enter the bank, the doors are closed. There's no way to get anything so the children can eat.
I can't even buy electricity. Even getting food has become difficult while our money is sitting in these banks and cooperatives. We don't know what else to do. Life is getting harder. No one says a word to us. I just came from there. I didn't get any information, not even from the security guard. We don't know what to do with our money anymore. We're asking you to plead on our behalf with the authorities. Maybe we can recover our money.
As bank doors remain closed, residents are left with the option of using mobile money services to transfer funds. However, that has proven to be a limiting choice for many. With the rebel group advancing, the anxiety of many has been deepened despite officials claiming control over the situation.
In Peru, the roof of a food court collapsed, killing at least 3 people and injuring 74 others. Emergency response teams are searching for survivors through the rubble and expect the death toll to rise.
At least 3 people have been killed and 74 others injured after the roof of a food court collapsed at a shopping mall in northern Peru. Dozens of families were in the shopping mall at the time of the incident. Officials say some of the injured, including 10 children, have been evacuated to hospitals. Emergency response teams are on site with more than 100 firefighters and police officers searching for survivors through the debris. Authorities estimate the collapsed roof area is around 800 square meters, and witnesses report of unconscious victims trapped under the rubble.
The roof is down, everything is debris. There are a lot of children in the place where the inflatable toys are. All the roof is down, literally, lying and full of debris. All the aluminum is over them. There are people inside and children who are apparently unconscious.
As the search for survivors continues, authorities fear the death toll will rise.
North Korea has condemned the recent US and South Korean military drills, calling them increasingly serious provocations. The country's defense ministry warns it will respond with strategic measures. North Korean defense officials accused Washington of threatening its security with military drills and troop presence. In a statement, North Korea warned that they will counter these threats with their own strategic means. Meanwhile, South Korea confirmed that at least 1 US bomber took part in recent joint defensive exercises. A Russian drone attack killed a rail worker at a crossing outside Kyiv, and falling drone fragments struck a building inside the capital, Ukrainian local authorities said. Kyiv region officials said the rail worker was killed in Boryspil district, east of the city. The strike triggered a fire in a storage area and shattered windows in a multi-story apartment building and an educational institution. Kyiv Mayor Vitaly Klitschko said drone fragments fell on private residences in the Solomyansky district in the west of the city, triggering a fire that was quickly extinguished and smashing windows in a nearby building. As Germany heads for snap elections this Sunday, right-wing opposition parties are heading in the polls. The Conservative Christian Democratic Union and its Bavarian sister party, the Christian Social Union, are hovering at around 30% of support, while the far-right Alternative for Germany are trailing them with around 20%.
Germany is heading to the polls this Sunday after Chancellor Olaf Scholz's coalition government collapsed under the weight of internal disagreements. The breakdown of the three-way alliance has triggered a snap election, with voters now poised to decide the country's leadership and policy direction for the next chapter. The main contenders are the centre-left Social Democrats, SPD, led by Scholz, and the conservative bloc of the Christian Democrats, CDU, and their Bavarian allies, the CSU. For the past 2 years, the CDU-CSU alliance has led national opinion polls with 30%, while the SPD, once the frontrunner in the 2021 elections has slipped to 16%. The far-right alternative for Germany, AfD, has gained significant ground, polling at 20%, while the Greens and the Left Party, Linke, are also competing with smaller but notable shares of support. The outcome is far from certain, as polls have shown how quickly public sentiment can shift. In 2021, the CDU went from leading to becoming the runner-up, leaving many to wonder whether the same could happen again. Political analysts also note the increasing fluidity of voters' loyalties in modern Germany. Three key issues are dominating the race: the economy, Ukraine, and migration. Ukraine remains a hot-button issue. Germany's mainstream parties largely support continued aid to Ukraine in its fight against Russia, with Conservatives, Greens, and the FDP backing the delivery of advanced weapons, including Taurus missiles. Chancellor Scholz's SPD, however, has recently called for a more cautious, diplomatic approach. On the other hand, the AfD has adopted a starkly different stance, advocating for a halt to arms shipments to Ukraine and a shift towards warmer relations with Russia. The economy is also a major concern. In 2024, Germany's economy contracted for the second year in a row, its worst performance in 2 decades. High energy prices and inflation are weighing heavily on citizens and businesses. While the SPD and CDU-CSU both support expanding renewable energy, they differ on financing strategies. The CDU and AfD also propose assessing a return to nuclear power, an idea rejected by the SPD and Greens. The CDU-CSU advocates for income and corporate tax cuts, while the AfD proposes controversial economic measures, such as leaving the EU and abandoning the euro. Migration is another flashpoint. With an uptick in violent incidents linked to foreign nationals, many Germans are calling for stricter immigration policies. The CDU has adopted a tougher stance on migration, with proposals for limiting asylum seekers and family reunifications. The AfD, known for its anti-migration rhetoric, is pushing for even more stringent measures, including closing the borders. In contrast, the Greens have maintained their open asylum policies, pushing for a more humane approach to immigration. Meanwhile, tensions have risen over foreign influence in the election. The German government accused US billionaire Elon Musk of attempting to sway the vote in favor of the AfD, following his public support for the far-right party. This controversy erupted after Musk wrote a guest opinion piece endorsing the AfD in the Welt am Sonntag newspaper. As Germany heads into this critical election, the outcome is still uncertain. With a fragmented political landscape, voters will have to decide whether to continue with the status quo or take the country in a dramatically different direction. The AfD is currently polling in second place, trailing the main opposition Conservatives. With its rising support, the party could potentially disrupt the formation of a centre-right or centre-left majority in the upcoming election. However, Germany's mainstream parties have made it clear they will not cooperate with the AfD at the national level, regardless of the election outcome.
Pakistani and Turkish forces have completed a 2-week counter-terrorism exercises in the northwestern Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. Elite combat teams from the Special Services Group of the Pakistani Army and the Special Forces of Turkey participated in joint exercises, which began on February the 10th. The training aimed to enhance professional skills through joint drills, while strengthening the long-standing military ties between the two allied nations. Turkish defense company Aselsan has successfully conducted live-fire tests for its Gökten project, which integrates the air-launched Tulum munition with ground platforms. Announcing the milestone in a social media post on X, the company highlighted this achievement as a significant step forward in Turkey's defense capabilities. Secretariat of Defense Industry Secretary Haluk Görgün praised the successful completion of the firing test in Aselsan's Gökten project, highlighting that the Tulum munition precisely hit its target after deploying its fins upon separation from the rocket. The Göktan system enhances the Tolum munition by integrating a rocket motor, significantly improving its command, control and firing capabilities for ground-based operations. In the latest test, the system successfully launched the munition, which unfolded its wings mid-flight and accurately struck the designated target.
Dikkat dikkat, fırlatma için geri sayım. 3, 2, 1, 0.
With Göktan, Aselsan strengthens its position as a key player in defense technology, offering a competitive alternative to Western systems. The project delivers a cost-effective and versatile solution tailored for various military applications. The final protocol defining the Kyrgyzstan-Tajikistan border has been signed, representing a major milestone in settling the long-standing dispute. The Kyrgyzstan National Security Committee announced that an agreement was finalized following a meeting between Kamchibek Tashkiyev, chairman of the Kyrgyzstan National Security Committee, and Saymumin Yatimov, chairman of the Tajikistan National Security Committee. Tashkiyev described the occasion as a special and historic day for both nations, highlighting that the long-standing border dispute has been resolved. The two countries had been in disagreement over 503 kilometers of their approximately 970-kilometer border. The 14th Sharjah Light Festival is lighting up the United Arab Emirates with a stunning fusion of technology and cultural heritage.
The 14th Sharjah Light Festival, themed Lights Unite Us, is captivating visitors until February 23rd by transforming 12 iconic landmarks across Sharjah with light installations, drone performances, and interactive art displays. This annual event blends with Emirati culture, offering a unique visual experience and celebrating the region's rich heritage. With 75 lighting manufacturers showcasing their cutting-edge designs, the festival has become a globally recognized spectacle. Ranked among the world's top light festivals, it continues as a major highlight in Sharjah's cultural calendar, drawing visitors from near and far.
That's all we have for now. From Baku, thank you for tuning in and keep watching A News.